It's time for the Movin The Chains podcast. Your home for high school football coverage in the Palmetto State. Every team, every game, every week. And now your hosts, Kevin Thomas and John Epps.
Welcome into Movin The Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside John Epps. We are here for our 1A, 2A, and SCISA season preview shows. John, can you believe the season is about, 10 days away?
Yeah, we're right there. And I'm looking up Jamboree schedules for this Friday. There's actually supposed to be a Jamboree in Dorman tonight.
Yeah, I think that one was rained out, but you never know. We got some crazy weather up here this week, it seems like, for sure, John. But yeah, it's hard to believe that we're here. But if you guys have just joined us for the first time, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc. at Movin Chains, MOVINCHAINS.com. Our website, movinchains.com. It's got a message board on there. It's got all of our links, our players of the week, all that stuff. Definitely check us out on there. Our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. John, any thoughts, just from the offseason before we get rolling here, to give folks a few more minutes to kind of hop in here with us? We saw a ton of coaching changes, but anything else, football related that you wanted to, hit on before we get into this 1A preview here?
I'll tell you what, the coaching changes is what the one thing over this offseason that I really gravitated toward, because we saw a lot of this last year too, but so cool seeing some of these hires. We saw a lot of alumni getting to come back to the school and coach, and that's awesome.
Yep.
You and Jarrell doing the interviews this offseason, really hearing that passion, these guys to get into the program as the head coach, and really exciting stuff. And you want to pull for those guys too. You want them to do really well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get going here, folks. Let's start with 1A, John. The prep poll just dropped today. Their top 10, their honorable mention. Let's run through that, give some thoughts on some guys that, that we may like out of that poll. Maybe we have some dark horses, whatever. And then, Drell, if you want to throw some comments up here when we get to it, feel free. We'll definitely answer those as we can. But once again, guys, this is not our poll. We do our own starting about week 4, week 5, once we get a better feel for the season. But this is what we've got right now, so we're going to go with this, John. But let's take a look at this 1A poll and get some comments on 1A football here.
Yeah, it's fun for sure. So we'll start out at the top. So Christchurch getting 11 of the 15 first place votes, a runaway there, getting that top spot to start off the season here in 1A. Number 2, Louisville. After a strong season last year, they come in at 2 on the preseason poll. Bamberg Earhart appears at number 3. Lamar comes in at 4. This one, maybe a little surprising to me. Southside Christian at 5.
Yeah.
You've got Johnsonville. They went to the state championship this past year.
Yep.
They come in at 6. And then we have a log jam at 7. We got 3 schools tied at 7. They've got St. Joseph's, Lakeview, and Cross.
Okay.
All there at 7, running 7 to 8, 9 pretty much. And then at 10, rounding out the top 10 is Whale Branch. Others receiving votes, you've got the Latta Vikings, Carver's Bay, Wagner Sally, Baptist Hill. Really like following Baptist Hill last year. They had a really good season.
They did.
And Great Falls as well.
Yeah, a couple teams, John, that I really like, obviously Christchurch, number 1 there, defending state champs. They lost a lot. They lost their quarterback, Woods Wyndham, B.J. Atkins, Carson Shaw. But that running back, Deshaun Reeder, is one of the best in the state, no matter the level. Recent Northwestern commit. Don't know what's going to happen with that, with all their situations there with the Wildcats, but really good player. He is going to play a little more on defense this year. That does worry me a little bit if he gets a little more tired out, with the depth, things like that. But Jackson Rep's another good player for those guys there as well. Louisville, a team that is just absolutely loaded. I think they bring back 19 of 22 starters from last year's team, John. A very young team last year. Had some issues against Christchurch in the playoffs. Couldn't take those guys down. But the quarterback, Ian Grissom, is a stud. They got the Robinson kid out wide. That's a really good player. Plus, we talked about it, I think you and I and Jarrell did. They just added another big play receiver, Dion Brown from Clover. One of our players of the week last year goes from Clover to Louisville. Those guys are loaded with big playability. And that name, you guys probably recognize it, son of Sheldon Brown, former Gamecock cornerback, Philadelphia Eagle. So definitely strong bloodlines there for Dion Brown. And Louisville Lions just got better. I mean, they really did.
Yeah, and, you think about 1A, you don't have a ton of schools in 1A, of course, and the talent can be spread a little thin across 1A. You got smaller schools, obviously, smaller populations. They have 3 playmakers like Louisville does.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be really, really tough to contend with from anybody out of the state. And not only that, but you mentioned they've got 19 under 22 starters coming back. They've got experience. And they've got talent. I mean, that is a very, very strong combination for those guys. I know they probably want to have a little bit better season than they did last year. They had some hope coming into last year too. I look for Louisville to be very, very good all year. This coming year.
I love what Coach Bullware is doing there. A couple other teams I want to talk about. Now, Bamberg-Earhart, another team returning, I think, 21 of 22 starters, John. Wide receiver Anthony Williams is a really good player there. The quarterback Chanston Crosby has got some offers already as more of an athlete at the next level, but he's a really good player. Coach Crosby in his second year there, a defensive-minded guy. Bamberg's always got playmakers on that side of the ball. Can they score enough points? And I think with Chanston there and Anthony Williams there, I think they will. I expect to see Bamberg, who didn't have a great year compared to Bamberg standards last year. I think they bounced back this year, and I think they're going to be a big-time contender in Lower State 1A, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and they played better toward the back end of the season. They got bumped in the second round of the playoffs last year, but they ran into one of the hottest teams in 1A at the time, the Johnsonville Flashes.
Yeah.
They lost that 1-point game, a 14-13 ball game. Second round of the playoffs there. So Bamberg, you don't really think about this too much, but you got a Bamberg-Earhart program coming this season, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They didn't quite have the season you typically see out of them last year. And then they would have made a deep run in the playoffs, but they ran into one of the best teams and one of the hottest teams in the state in the second round. And sometimes that's just the way it happens. That's the way the playoffs go sometimes.
And that Johnsonville team is a team I'm watching out for again. It's hard to replace a 2,000-yard rusher in Daquan Burrows, but you got your quarterback back, Malik Shippey. I think he's a 4-year starter. He's already a Furman commit as a wide receiver. Really good player there, but I like him a lot. They've kind of got a running back by committee going with Martin, Woodbury, Wilson, and Davis right now. But Coach Cribb does a great job down there. They will be a force to be reckoned with in the Lower State again, of course. A couple of teams I like, John. Calhoun County, one of the better receivers in the state, Christian Zachary, a Virginia commit. Really good player there. Will Branch, a stud at KJ Chisholm, who I like a lot as well. And a team that we had a chance to interview the new coach this offseason. Always a contender in 1A, John, the Lamar Silver Foxes. I mean, they've got talent every single year. Coach Burris, the OC at Ridgeview last year, going to be the head coach. They will be a team that will be a hard out, no doubt about it. Quarterback Zori Pierce, wide receiver Tavis Dolphin, running back Travion McPhail, really good on the offense there. And Nazir Stevenson on the D-line, one of the best players in the state, John. A lot of times at the 1A level, you don't have the depth up front that you do at 2 and 3A because those guys are playing both ways a lot. They just can't focus on one position. This Lamar D-line is stacked. I mean, they're going to be stout. That Silver Foxes team is going to be tough as always.
Yeah, and when you've got a defensive line that should be as good as they are going to be, if you can really make it tough for other teams to run the football and make teams throw the ball. You think about, I think especially in 1A, you got to look at it in their region. How many teams are they going to come across in their schedule? They're going to say, oh, yeah, we really like throwing the ball. We want to throw the ball. Louisville, good thing that Louisville is a team say, hey, well, bring it on.
They do want to throw
the ball over the field.
That's right.
But most people on Lamar's schedule, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to go into a game and going, okay, if we want to win this game, we got to figure out how to put the ball in the air a little bit. And at least keep them honest.
No doubt. And two teams we hadn't talked about that were in the top 10 poll, John. They have a lot of question marks, in my opinion, and that's the two private schools, Southside Christian and St. Joseph's. Both teams lost a lot. Ja'Cory Martin, Mikael Woodfield at Southside Christian have graduated. They've gone on to college. The quarterback, Walker Wood, is at Furman now from St. Joe's. Both teams lost a lot of talent. What do they have coming back? I don't know. Just based on their reputation, you think they're pretty good. I mean, these teams are good year in, year out, but don't know a lot about them yet. But that region they play in up here in the upstate with those two, and then Christchurch. It's just a powerhouse after powerhouse there. So we'll find out what they've got. But those two teams that are always contenders, I just don't know a lot about right now, I feel like.
With Southside Christian, we talk about Reeder, and they've had last few years, they've had some really, really good talent at that running back position on the offensive side of the ball. But let's not forget, their defense is really, really, really good too. Their defense is gonna not keep them in ball games. It's gonna keep them in the forefront of the conversation as far as 1A goes. Christchurch, I think they're going to be right there again. Yep. They did lose a lot. The Southside program, I believe in because every year it's next man up for those guys. The Sabres, they have a well-oiled program. They know what they're doing, and they're going to be there. And they still have Reeder. He's going to be one of the best players, if not the best player, probably the best player in 1A. That's debatable. We'll see how the season goes. But I think that alone, the pedigree of the program, having Reeder, they're going to be right there. And that's why I say Southside 5 kind of surprises me. I get the top two. I get that. But I'd probably have Southside 3 or 4.
Another team that is surprising we have gone this long in 1A without talking about the Lakeview Wild Gators. I mean, always a perennial contender there. They've lost a good bit the last couple of years, but they've got Kason Hurlon back in quarterback. He's a good player there for those guys. They do replace all 5 offensive linemen, which I do not like. That's scary. But they got some good running backs. Terrell Foxworth's one of those guys who can take the load for him. But Coach King does a great job there for Lakeview for sure. But I tell you what, John, a team that we have not mentioned yet that didn't make the top 5 or top 10, I don't think they even honorable mention, that is a dark horse for me out of the PD region, the Hanna Pamplico Raiders. They returned quarterback Wade Poston, big year last year throwing the ball. And then one of my favorite running backs around, Jamarcus Williams, a guy that people don't know his name a lot. He ran for 2,000 yards last year, John. I mean, that's not just some, fly-by-night number. I mean, that's a huge number. 2,000 yards last year. And opposite of Lakeview, they've got all 5 O-linemen back. This Hanna Pamplico team is a team to watch out for. They can make some noise. A team under Coach Johnson before he left to Darlington this year had some good success and really came very close to making some big noise in the playoffs. They took Bamberg Gerhardt to the wire a couple of years ago. They made some noise. I think this year, even though Coach Johnson's gone, Trey Woodbury stepping in there, I think they could be a team that could make a deep run in 1A for sure.
And you talk about, their offense was prolific.
Yeah.
They got knocked out in the first round of the playoffs last year, but they put up 56 points. It was a basketball game.
Yeah.
They're going to score, and they're having that kind of offense is going to put a lot of heat on opponents, and it's going to keep them in ball games. If they can score on just about anybody, and I think they can. And hey, if nothing else, they're going to be a really fun team to watch in the PD.
Yeah,
they're going to be a good time on Friday nights.
Yeah. That's all I've got 1A comments wise. Drill, do you have any comments you can pop on the screen for us? Do I need to change my screen possibly? Or even if you guys want to have him join us, third person of our team here, Jarrell Hendricks, behind the scenes moderating. Jarrell, you want to pop in here and give us some of your thoughts on 1A right quick?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that. I kind of messed up the video there, just focusing on me. But I agree with most of the sentiments you guys have there. The only thing I would change at the top, I think Louisville and Christchurch are definitely 1 and 2 right now because they're known commodities. But I would actually bump Louisville ahead of Christchurch, even though they're the defending state champ. Louisville just returning so much talent, especially on the offensive side, and then adding Deion Brown there. I think that's going to be a huge weapon for them. Christchurch, they did lose a little bit, but they're gonna reload. The thing that stands out for me on the poll, looking at the bottom, kind of just that gaggle tie for 7th. You got Whale Branch down there. They've got some great talent, and I think most of it is right. There's a little bit more separation in 1A from the haves and the have-nots, but I think for the most part, this poll looks pretty accurate.
Yeah, for sure. Drew, any comments you want to pop on the screen? Have you been able to do that? So I've got it full screen on my end. So you may have been doing it. I may have missed them. I don't know. But any comments you want to pop here that we can kind of run through from any of our viewers that have any questions or thoughts on the season so far.
I know. We'll just show everybody some love here.
Let's do it. Zach, my man, good to talk to you, buddy. We got that Clinton 3A talk coming to you on Wednesday. Good to see you back on here, man, for sure. Adrian, hey, I know you love Louisville, my man. Those boys are rolling. Your son's doing a great job out there. Going to be a tough out. One of the contenders for sure here in 1A this year. Ryan, hey, buddy, good to talk to you. You know, Crestwood, Javion Martin 3A coming on Wednesday. Should be a great team as good for those guys. So look forward to talking to those guys on Wednesday night.
I'm excited about that Crestwood team.
Yeah, they should be fun.
I had to show this one. This one's good, too. Go back to
deeper than the Atlantic Ocean. I love it. I love it, man. Yeah, 19 starters coming back, plus some additions from Clover. Louisville, man, a lot similar to Bamberg, bringing back a ton from a fairly young team, poised to make a deep run, I think.
Good and talented. Not just bringing them at talented, too.
You know,
Kevron's always talking to you, buddy.
love.
Got great collegiate here in a second. Talk some 2A action. Good to have you in here as always.
And then we got another one from Zach here.
Yeah, I agree. You mentioned Christian Zachary there, the wide receiver, the UVA commit. They've got tons of athletes. You know, a team that has been kind of sporadic, I feel like, John, up and down the last couple of years. Can they put it together? Can they not? They're due for a big season. Zachary may be the guy that leads them there.
Hey, they're in the honorable mention, top of the list. Honorable mention. We'll put them number 11.
A team that had some good success last year under Coach Isaac there. The DB, Kentrell, is it Jameson? I can't remember his name. He's a good athlete there for those guys. Just playing in a tough region. We already talked about, Lakeview and Hampton, those guys. But Latta, a team that, is certainly on the rise, I would say. A team last year we thought may win 2-3 games at most. I think won 5 or 6, makes the playoffs.
They came out the gate.
Good squad last year.
They went, and Hunter probably knows, I think they went maybe 2 games without giving up a touchdown.
Yeah.
Giving up a point.
Yeah. Christchurch and Gray week 1. Louisville Oceanside Greek week 1 exactly. Can't wait to talk about those guys next Tuesday night, John. It'll be 2 huge matchups. Probably 2 of our games of the week, honestly, for that week 0 there.
Perfect. That's all for the comments here. The rest of them, got 2A, 3A, so everybody's excited. So that's it.
Perfect.
For the 1A
well, Jarrell,
comments.
let's give a quick shout out to some of our friends, over at Founders and the Georgia Agency, and then we'll hop back into 2A here in a second.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
Well done.
We got
Carolina Orthopedic.
The Georgia Agency has been serving the insurance needs of South Carolina for over 40 years. They're a full-line insurance agency concentrated in employee benefits and health insurance with an office in Mullins and Murrells Inlet, but they can help you all across the state. They have clients in Greer, Rock Hill, Columbia, and more, so wherever you are, they can help. Give Bradley, Wayne, Richard, and the crew a call or check them out online at thegeorgiaagency.net. That's thegeorgiaagency.net. Appreciate those guys for helping us out and help us do what we do each week, John, being able to go to games and afford equipment and fancy broadcasts like this. We hope to get better as the season goes on. This is literally our first time trying this live thing, so hopefully it gets better. But I think it's rolling pretty good so far, John. Let's take a look at 2A now, run through those polls and kind of give our thoughts, favorites, sleepers as we go into the 2A classification.
And I tell you, I love 2A last year. 2A was so much fun last year.
Yes.
And looking at the preseason poll here, they're going to have a lot of fun this year too. Number 1, taking 11 the 15 first place votes, Abbeville, Big A at number 1. Second is Gray Collegiate. Third, Oceanside. 4 is Fairfield Central. 5 is Marion. 6, Andrew Jackson coming off their very, very good year and very good playoff run too. 7, don't feel bad if you haven't heard this school before. Hampton County, the new school combination. Number 8, Silver Bluff. 9, Strom Thurmond. And they've got a tie at 10 with Barnwell and Saluda. Others receiving votes include Woodland, Buford, 96, and Timberland.
I like it. 2A is so deep, man. We'll just start there at the top. Abbeville, defending state champs. They've kind of got a quarterback battle going on. Jay Hill, who we saw play a good bit last year when Zay Rafer was hurt, throws it a little bit more than you think Abbeville normally does, of course. But they've got a big-time defensive back, DeMarcus Leach. He's a younger kid. He's got some big offers already. He's probably going to see some time at quarterback as well. He can really move. A great athlete there. Running backs, Altavius Patterson, Lewis Haddon, Case Norman are all back. They had a pretty young team outside of Rayford and Harrison and Tench last year, but defensive lineman Jay Harris, he's a problem, John. Big man in the middle, wreaks havoc up front. Abbeville, year in, year out, they are going to be there at the end. Like we know they will. Actually, lost 3 key pieces there with Tench and Rayford and Harrison, but they are still loaded there. The Panthers are.
Yeah, I was so impressed with, and I don't give, nobody likes moral victories. No moral victories here, but I was so impressed with that game we saw them play against Powdersville last year.
I think that was week 2, I believe.
It was very early. Rayford was out.
Yep. Harrison was out.
They had a lot of guys that they needed to step up, and they about won the game.
Yeah.
They played beautifully, and they hadn't been in that position very long.
Yeah.
These guys were thrown in, like you said, week 2 maybe, thrown into the fire. Their biggest test of the season, really, probably, or most talented team that they played probably.
Yeah.
All year. That was an incredible performance by those guys, and they looked like they were ready.
Yep.
Not that they looked like they were ready.
Yeah.
They were ready, and that's a testament to that coaching staff down in Abbeville, getting everybody on the roster ready to go, ready to play, and play at a high level.
Yep.
They are certainly deserving that number 1 spot. And for me, you're number 1 until you're not.
Yeah.
Until somebody beats you, you're number 1. And that's a big target, though, to carry, but that's something Abbeville's used to. That's nothing new to them.
No doubt. I think number 2 was Gray Collegiate, correct? A team, Coach Holmes' squad there, Kevron's favorite team as well. These guys are loaded on offense. Quarterback Tyler Waller stepping in to fill Riley Staten's shoes there. Younger kid, really good player. The 2-headed monster at running back, BJ Montgomery, Caleb Ford, really good players. Them got a lot of work last year. 2 receivers, Jamarius Lockett, Zay Alford, are really good players as well. Offensive lineman, JT Sowell. I can't remember which one it is. Sorry, buddy. He's an App State commit. Good player for them. I like Ryland Cunningham on defense there. This is a team that, lost a little bit earlier in the playoffs. We thought they would. Sluter took them out. I was kind of surprised by that. But Coach Holmes has those guys locked and loaded for another big run, I feel like.
Yeah, they're going to be great. And, the tough thing for Gray is, and they can relish this, and, Coach Holmes will spin this the way that his players need to hear it. They're going to have a little bit of a target on them.
Yeah, no doubt.
Teams are going to, Gray's got that, hey, everybody's circling them. We want to beat Gray. Everybody's going to bring their best shot for the War Eagles this year. And they expect that.
Yeah.
They know that. And they're going to be ready. And I think they are going to be, again, Abbeville's number 1 until they get beat.
Yep.
But I think Gray is going to be a problem. We come down to Weekend of Champions. They certainly could be in that mix. I think they're going to have a better year than they had last year.
Yeah. A couple other teams I really like. Fairfield Central, a team that had a freshman quarterback, Cam McMillan last year, was one of our Player of the Week nominees every week. It felt like, put up huge numbers. He's back. They should be really good this year. I like what he's doing there. In Hampton County, a team I do want to focus on. Head coach Rob Hanna was the head coach at Wade Hampton. He'll be the head coach of the new combined school, Esto and Wade Hampton. There, the new Hampton County school there. I like Coach Hanna. Running back, where's his name? I just lost it. Anyway, Hampton County. There we go. Running back Zion Dobson, and a 2027 athlete to look out for, Jordan Beauvain. Really explosive, a young kid, going to be a spark from this year. But that Hampton County team, John, the worry with that, Estill was good last year, really good. Wade Hampton was pretty good last year. You always worry about when schools combine. You think like, oh, there's going to, the talent is going to just come together. They're going to be great. But sometimes it takes a year or two for those guys to kind of mesh together, because they're like, why wasn't our coach picked as the head coach, or why wasn't this or this? There's a little bit more behind the scenes going on. But if Coach Hanna can work that out, that Hampton County team has as much talent as just about anybody in 2A, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think what really benefits them, and this is not just Hampton County, this South Carolina high school football.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if it takes you 2 or 3 weeks to get your feet under you and get some, certain little things worked out, hey, that's okay.
Yeah.
You're in non-region play. What's really important is, week 5, week 6, whenever you begin region play, just have it together by then.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time to have it together. And that's a lot of talent. And, I get that worry. And I had that worry too, until a little school called Catawba Ridge came on the scene. And that was a school, first year of football.
Yeah.
And boy, they were good.
Yeah.
They were really, really good. So it can happen.
Yep.
It can happen, and it can happen quick. And I think for Hampton County, they're going to be a big time threat. Definitely in lower state for one. They're going to be. I'm more excited about watching them than anybody else in 2A.
Yeah,
all that talent they've got and seeing how quickly it comes together, because it'll come together.
Oh yeah,
how quickly it comes together for those guys, and how quickly they really start to get their feet under them.
Yeah, I've got a lot of teams here I still want to shout out, John. No doubt about it. But I want to talk about the Marion Swamp Foxes. Talk about talent. This team has as much as anybody in 2A, I feel like, John. Quaysheed Scott just committed to Kentucky. Tyshawn Sanders just committed to App State. The quarterback, Gabe Cusack, is going to go somewhere and play some ball. I think they returned 7 starters on offense, 9 on defense. These guys are really, really good. It just depends, can they put it all together? Last year, you don't know if it's a coaching thing or a focus thing or what. They play a Sherrall team early in the year, hang 70 points on them, turn around and play Sherrall in the playoffs, and they lose. That just can't happen. Marion, if they can stay focused, stay on the right track, they have a real shot to get back to Columbia like they did just a couple years ago when they lost to Abbeville. But Marion, I think that's a team that is going to have playmakers all over the field, and they're going to score 30, 40, 50 a night. Can the defense stop enough guys to handle the depth? But they're a really good football team this year.
Yeah, and they got something to prove.
Yeah,
because we talked about them last year coming the season. Hey, this Marion Swamp Fox team, boy, they're good. They're going to be something to contend with. But I want to echo what Keith Ford just said right here. Don't sleep on Sherrall.
Yes.
About.
Yes.
They are a team. They were bad at the beginning of the year last year. They get their way into the playoffs, win that first round game over a very good Marion team. And what I like about the Sherrall program is, and we saw it from different people. Mm-hmm. Different people connect to the Sherrall program. They're excited.
Yeah.
They are very excited about this season. They like what they've got in their locker room, and they feel pretty good about this year.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk to head coach Andy Poole just last week. It's on our season previews here on our Facebook and YouTube page. He was super excited. They were a young team last year, John. I think they lost 4 games by a touchdown or less. I mean, obviously it sucks when it happens, but it's really, you can really grow from that. They've got Kayvon Ford back at running back, Aiden Owen at quarterback. A name to watch out for, safety, Dwight Harrington, freak athlete, a really good player for them. I like what the Braves are doing. Love Coach Poole. He was one of the best personalities we've talked to in the couple years we've been doing this. Definitely check out that interview. He was a lot of fun to talk to there at Sherrall. Another team, John, that you were high on last year, they made a pretty good run, and they've got their star player back. That's Andrew Jackson. Trey Thompson, the running back, one of the best in the state, but they do replace their head coach. Coach leaves. The guy from Boiling Springs comes in. You know what you got with Thompson, but what do you got around him is the question.
Yeah, and what I'm worried about Andrew Jackson is that break in continuity with the new head coach. Can they keep that rolling? Was it everything just went the right way for us in 22 kind of situation? But they're definitely, I think they're maybe 6th in this preseason poll here. Certainly a team worth watching. Number 6 coming. They're going to be a team that's going to be contend with. They're not going to be sleeping on anybody.
Yeah,
nobody's going to be oh boy, we didn't know Andrew Jackson was supposed to be good. So they're going to have to prove it every week. It'll be interesting to see about the Vols. I'm not too sure what to think of them just yet. I want to see them for a couple weeks before I pass a judgment and see if they keep it rolling from what they had going.
And I think that region should be a lot of fun this year with Andrew Jackson and Sherrall. I think 2 pretty good teams. The Central Pageland, a team that has a lot of really good athletes. Yeah, Brian's right on it. They have a ton of young talent. The defense was good last year. Had a problem scoring some points. See if they can get that fixed out. Central Pageland, Sherrall, Andrew Jackson should be a really fun region this year to keep up with. And Chesterfield, too. Never know what you get with those guys with the Rams. They should be fun as well. A couple other teams, John. Oceanside, the defending lower state champ last year. They lost Vine Blue, lost Monroe Freeling, lost Jace Kravchik, lost Zach Hagedon. The quarterback is back, Edward Reidenbach. They've got a couple other players, Ben Britton on defensive line I really like a lot. Not sure what they've got at the skill position besides that, but Coach Wilkes has won everywhere he's been. Had a great season in year 1 there for Oceanside. I think they're going to get better and better. They're a team, obviously, you got to watch out for in lower state.
Yeah, a lot like Gray, we talk about, hey, they maybe – well, Oceanside, they went to the state championship.
Yeah.
They expect to win that game.
Yeah.
They expect to win that game. They've got some unfinished business, I think, from their end. And Coach Wilkes, I mean, nail on the head. That team's going to be ready. They're going to have talent. They're going to be able to win games. And gosh, I mean, Von Blue was out.
He was out a lot of the year. He was hurt a lot of the year. Yeah.
So everything they did last year, or for the most part, was without Blue.
Yeah.
Especially early on. I expect those side to be right there again. Somebody's going to step up. That team's going to be very good.
Yeah, a couple other teams I want to hit on. Saluda had a great run into the year last year with Tyleek Mathis. Listen to this, John, for a 2A team. You don't expect to hear these numbers. They lost 20 seniors. It's a 2A football team. That's crazy. But they had 70 to 80 kids out from 9th through 12th grade out in spring practice. They've got about 25 to 30 more than they usually have. So they've got numbers to back it up. But they're going to be younger, see how long they can grow. But love, Coach Stewart there. He does a great job. Stu Hunt, they're growing not Stewart Hunt. Stewart, I can't think of his last name. He does a great job there. Love what he does at Saluda. Woodland, losing Cedarian Harrison, but they've got Cam Pringle on offensive line back. Aaron Pulliam at linebacker is back. They got a quarterback transfer from First Baptist, who's a pretty good player as well. So interesting to see what they can do there. But I've got a couple sleeper teams I want to hit on, unless you got somebody else that you want to shout out.
I want to tag on to what you said about Saluda.
Yeah.
That's incredible to see. And I think we saw that from Louisville.
Yeah.
Maybe a year or two ago. How many people or kids want to be a part of that program.
Stuart Young. Yeah, sorry. I could not think of his last name. Thank you, Zach.
But it's great to see that kind of passion, that support to want to play. Jarrell and I went to the Saluda Strom Thurmond game last year. That's not a surprise.
Yeah.
I see that stat. That's not a surprise.
Yeah.
That was, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, the better game day atmosphere I've been to.
Yeah.
I can't think of one right off the top of my head that was better than Saluda. That's a very, very cool place to be. A very cool place to play football for a young guy. And hey, if nothing else, that's gonna build up your depth a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna increase competition. Competition makes everybody better. What do they say? Iron sharpens iron.
That's right.
So those are two great things for Saluda. They're gonna be really good.
Yeah, I like Zach's comment there about Strom Thurmond. Another team that we haven't talked a lot about, year two under Coach Webb. They're high in the poll, and they just got a big transfer as well. Braylon Staley, the Tennessee wide receiver commit, is going to Strom Thurmond now from Aiken. Huge get there. Excited to see year two of Coach Webb's offense. They struggled a little bit last year offensively. It felt like couldn't get it going some ball games. They've got some good athletes here this year. They should be a tough team for sure, offensively and defensively. Hampton County, talking about those guys. We're high on Coach Hanna and those guys this year. We're really good with Dobson and Beauvain. But I tell you what, a sleeper I've got, John, Silver Bluff.
Yes.
A team that 2 years ago went to the state title game in Lower State, lost to Gray. Last year started off really slow, but really came on as the season went along. Their defense should be nasty with Boyd and Fuller, two D1 guys there. The playmaker Grant was a young kid. He'll be better this year. It was, like I said, a young team that really grew up last year. Coach Bryant's doing a very good job there. They can always run the football. That, so they're going to do that. I think they're a team to watch out for in 2A, Lower State. Silver Bluff will be for sure.
Yeah, in 2A, 2A's better when Silver Bluff is really good.
Yeah. And two other teams I wanted to mention. Barnwell, a team that was loaded last year, one of our favorite teams last year. Lost Tyler Smith, lost Clay Pender, but their quarterback, Cam Austin, is one of the best in the state. A really big-time baseball player as well, playing huge national teams and whatnot, but he's a good quarterback there. New coach, Brian Smith, bringing some new concept from Ridge Spring Minetta, has been all over the state. He's a really good football coach there. Barnwell, they're going to have kids that are talented, and they're going to have kids that can work hard. They got a great atmosphere down there. They will be in the mix for sure as the playoffs come around there. The Warhorses will.
Yeah, they're going to be right there. It reminded the young man's name, Tyler Smith.
From last year, running back.
Tyler Smith from last year. I mean, that guy, he's just going to be so tough to replace.
Yeah.
He was one of my favorite players in the state last year. Barnwell, they're the kind of program that replaces those kind of guys.
Yeah.
They're not they had the Tyler Smith, so they were good that 1 year.
Yep.
They'll have somebody. So I'm excited to figure it out, week 2, 3, or 4, seeing who steps up into that role and really starts doing it for the Warhorses.
Yeah, I've got two more sleepers to watch out for. I know we talked 2A forever, but it's just a lot of really good teams. I've heard that Batesburg-Leesville may be for real this year. A team that was a little bit down. Last year they had the whole coaching issue with the Cathcart guy came in, he left, they hired Greg Hill. I've heard Batesburg-Leesville may be the real deal this year. I have not seen it in person, but watch out for those guys. Then another team that we hardly ever talk about in 2A, I think they won 8 or 9 games last year, John. Andrews.
Andrews.
You know, that's a region, that Marion, Mullins, Andrews region, King Street, that kind of gets forgot about.
Yeah.
Do you have their record there, John? Because I want to say they won a good bit of football games, and maybe one game in the playoffs. If you don't have that's okay, but they're a football team that brings a lot back. I think they've got potential to make some noise there in Lower State as well.
I don't have the record, but they were second-round playoff team last year. Got booted by Barnwell.
No shame there.
No, they played a tough game. It was,
Yeah.
2-score game, 36-22 in that one.
Yeah, Drill, you want to hop in with any comments, or do you want to pop some up here? Feel free to let us know your thoughts on 2A as well.
I'm going to creep in the shadows if that's good with y'all. You know, just got your beautiful faces up there. I think this prep poll's pretty accurate, man. I don't really see any issues with it. You know, I might slide down Oceanside just a little bit just because they lost, you know, those key players. I mean, you do bring Riding back, but, you know, I don't know. Love Abbeville I think Abbeville should just be unanimous. Like, I don't see how you watch that state championship game last year and, you know, don't have them as unanimous number one, but Gray's always going to be loaded. I like Silver Bluff, like you guys were saying. I really like Silver Bluff a lot. They've got some studs on defense. And you know they're just going to be ready to play. Strom's going to be really strong. Man, I don't think you can really go wrong. If we go to the top 10, I might slide Saluda out and maybe throw Woodland up there just because. Can't really knock down Barnwell because, you know, Barnwell won that game pretty handily last year. Not the same team, obviously. But yeah, I think this is pretty spot on. You got some really good contenders. Zach mentioned it in the comments, man. 2A is just loaded across the board. But I'll pop some more comments up here. We'll just show Zach.
Maybe move Saluda up.
I just worry with losing 20. That's so many seniors, but
it is a lot.
But you know, Coach Young does a great job. Zach says Batesburg Clinton week 0. Yeah, that'll tell us a lot. You know, I don't expect Batesburg to win that ball game. I think Clinton's very good again this year. But if Batesburg can show something that week, you say, hey, you know what? Maybe these guys are. Newberry, a team, you know, we got their hat right there. Coach Jeter, love what Coach Jeter's doing there. I love that young receiver they've got. I can't think of his name, but the receiver's a really good player, getting some looks. They're still probably, like you said, a year or so away. They got some young talent there for sure. But Newberry is a program that I think Coach Jeter's doing it the right way. He'll have them back on top sooner rather than later.
And they improved a lot.
They did
last year compared to the year before.
Yeah,
they made a very good jump. Hopefully, you can see Newberry make another step up this year too.
Yeah, A-Town and Thurman or Thomas's top two going to the year. I agree. Those are two really good programs there. May see that in the postseason for sure. Two teams that are loaded with talent, no doubt about it. Dexter, good to have you in here, my man. Appreciate you hopping on. I know you're excited for that South Florence chat. We'll talk about that on Wednesday night in some 4A. But, yeah, man, football is right around the corner. Week 0 next Friday night. So we're excited to get that rolling.
I tell you what, if Region 3 is as good as we think it's going to be, that's going to be a really, really fun region to watch. You got Pittsburgh, Leesville there, Saluda, Silver Bluff, and Strom Thurman. That's a lot of high-quality games right there.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and jump into some commercials real quick, and then we'll go to SCISA if you guys are good with 2A.
Yeah, one more thing I'll say, you know, if you guys, if you're just tuning in and you missed part of the 2A chat or the 1A chat, you can always play this back afterwards. You know, it lives forever on our Facebook and YouTube page, our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. You can go back and start it from the front and listen to it. You know, I'll try to put some bookmarks in there that shows you what time each class is. So definitely, if you missed your favorite team, missed your favorite class, you can go back and watch it when we're done. So definitely do that. And feel free to hop in here with some more comments. Love chatting with you guys. We've seen a handful of teams at 7-on-7s or practices or scrimmages or whatever, but we haven't seen everybody. So if y'all have seen some insight that we don't have, we'd love to hear from you guys and get your thoughts on your programs as well. But yeah, Drill, let's talk about our let's hear from our friends, and we'll roll into some SCISA talk here before we get out of here for the night.
Take your financial game to the next level with Founders Federal Credit Union. Reach your full potential. Relax. Join Founders today. Visit an office near you or relaxjoinfounders.com to apply. Federally insured by NCUA, member qualification required.
All right.
Carolina.
We're not back. Sorry, go ahead, Drill. I jumped the gun on you.
Carolina Orthopedic and Neurosurgical Associates, CONA, offers the most advanced training and experience in orthopedic surgery, neurosurgery, sports medicine, and pain management in the upstate. 3 convenient locations in Spartanburg, Duncan, and Greenville. Go to kona.care to learn more.
Now we're back. Okay. So we've already rolled through 1A and 2A thoughts and predictions, John. I think when we wrap up SCISA here, maybe we give a state championship prediction for each level as well to start the year here. But let's start now with SCISA, John. A quick preview of those guys. Let's look down at 8-man. You know, a team that if you guys have not seen an 8-man football game, it is a sight to behold. A lot of space, but a lot of points, a lot of fun. 3 teams I want to focus on. Richard Wynn last year had a good season. I really like the wide receiver Drew Spires. He does a lot of stuff on 7-on-7 with some bigger teams. He's a really good player for them. Jefferson Davis, Colson Loadholt back at quarterback, Nazir Boyd back at running back. A good squad there. But then how can you not talk about Holly Hill, a team that has just steamrolled everyone last year? I think won each game by probably 40-plus points. So the defending state title team, but new head coach there for the Raiders.
Yeah, that could be, again, anytime you have change, that can worries me anyways a little bit. But you talk about Holly Hill. Their worst game in the playoffs was the state championship. And I say worst game offensively was the state championship game. They only put up 16. The other 2, 70-plus.
Man, yeah, those boys were talented last year and should be the favorite again. Looking up at 1A, John, some different things going on here. We talk about Holly Hill losing their head coach, Michael Nelson. Well, he's now at Dorchester, a program that's had a lot of success in the past. Had a decent season going last year and then really fell off towards the end. But he has been, Coach Nelson, 38-0 the last 3 years, 3 state titles at Holly Hill. Very interested what he can do there with the Raiders. I think they're going to be a good program to look out for. And then Thomas Hayward, a team that has won state after state after state with Coach Shuford, is now going to Beaufort. So they've lost him and the quarterback, his son as well. Interested to see what they can do there at Thomas Hayward. Another team I want to shout out, Dylan Christian, new head coach Donnell Stanley, former Latta Viking, former South Carolina Gamecock. Interested to see if he can turn that program around. But you got to think a team like Thomas Hayward with the talent they've got, and maybe even Dorchester probably are 2 favorites there in 1A, along with maybe Robert E. Lee.
Yeah, I think you gotta take Robert E. Lee into account. After the state championship year, they're hey, again, you got to beat them. You got to beat the man to be the man.
Yep.
But I'm excited for Coach Stanley down in Dylan Christian. I think that's a perfect mix. I think he's going to get some excitement going on over there at Dylan Christian. That's going to be fun to watch over there for them. I think that's going to be – they're my sleeper.
Okay.
Dylan
I like that. Looking up at 2A, John, we just mentioned Coach Shuford going from Thomas Hayward to Beaufort. A very good Beaufort team last year. They were our game of the week several times, had a really good season there. Couldn't quite get to the title game there, but they were very, very good. I like what they're doing. I think they're going to be a contender. And just Orangeburg Prep, a team that has been down the last couple of years, but they hired Don Shelley from Williamsburg. 10 or 11 state titles in his career. Really good coach. It may take him a year or so to get those guys back on top, but I like what they're doing. They're putting some money and putting some investment into the program, getting Coach Shelley there for Orangeburg Prep.
Yeah, and for Orangeburg Prep, for me, it's how much work has to be done.
Yeah.
Is it because they're not bad?
Yeah.
Is it something, hey, we can get this picked up early in the season. By the end of the season, they're going to be really cooking.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting to watch Orangeburg Prep to see how that transitions and how quickly it does.
Yeah, and you can't talk 2A without Williamsburg. Defending state champs there, really good season. They even beat the 3A state champs, PD Academy, in the regular season as well. Running back Teague Ward, I believe, is back. He's a stud there. Tyler Boyd taking over for Coach Shelley. Tyler's been on staff there for a while. He's also the head baseball coach. Does a great job with that. So he's got experience leading those guys. The guys know him already. I think Williamsburg probably is the favorite again in 2A. But a couple of teams I'm looking out for Colin and Prep. They had a good year last year. I mentioned Beaufort with Coach Shuford, another team to watch out there for. But I think it's got to be Williamsburg's until they lose.
I think so too. And I talk about having continuity with a coaching change. That's the best you can have.
Yeah,
hire within, and especially when you're a good program like Williamsburg. Don't change as little as possible.
Yep.
Keep the train on the tracks.
Yeah. Let's look up now at 3A, John. What should be a really fun classification in SCISA. It was last year. Let's start with the defending state champs, the PD Academy Golden Eagles, a team that was, senior heavy, quarterback Hudson Spivey, the Sinclair kid, Landon Tyler, and more. All those guys are gone, but they got a lot of talent back. Guys like Colby Richardson at quarterback is a phenomenal athlete. Probably going to run it a little bit more than Hudson did, but we'll see how that works out. Got to work out the offensive and defensive line a little bit, figure out the defense a little bit. But they've got some talent in the secondary. Singletary's back there. A couple other guys I like. Not Singletary. Elvington's back there. Ryan Small, some other guys there that are really good. But that PD team is going to be ready to play. They always are. But it may take them a couple weeks to really find their groove with these kind of new pieces meshing in there.
The PD region is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Foreign Christian. They should be really good again. Great state championship game.
Oh,
between
man.
those two last year, 36-35
Yeah.
ball game. That's going to be, like you said, that's going to be a very, very fun classification again in SCISA.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams, I think, that can say, hey, we got just as good a chance as those guys to win.
You mentioned Florence Christian. Jules Huntley's back, a really good athlete. Got some offers there. His brother did graduate, but Jules is back there for the Eagles. He's a good player. A couple other notes I've got. Wilson Hall, John, we talked about him last year. One of our games of the week several times as well. That option offense, you don't see it as much anymore, so it becomes almost even more tough to prepare for.
Yeah.
They do a great job there. That'll be a fun team to watch. And then a couple of new coaches I want to shout out. Northwood, Coach Waters coming there from First Baptist. I think they're probably a little ways away from being a contender, but they're going to be good. I like First Baptist's hire with Jamal Birch, a guy that we talked to this offseason. Comes from that Chad Greer coaching tree, was just coaching at Providence Day last year with guys like Jaden Davis and whatnot. They've got some young talent there. I think they're probably a little ways away too, but they will be a contender in the future. And then you got to mention, the story in SCISA this offseason, Pinewood Prep, Devontae Holloman. A team that was pretty good last year, I think went to the second round of the playoffs, John, I believe it was, before losing to PD there.
That's correct, yep.
They've got talent, and when Coach Holloman, they probably brought in some more talent. That's going to be a team to look out for, I think, in 3A this year, no doubt about it.
I think it's hard to say anybody made a better hire across the state, across classifications, SCISA, public schools, than Pinewood hiring Devontae Holloman. And it's not, he's just he played in the NFL. Yeah, he was great at Carolina. He's a good coach.
Yeah.
At South Point.
Yeah.
He's a really, really good coach. That is not a home run hire. That's a grand slam hire. And that's so much fun for Pinewood, for that community to be able to, that's going to be a lot of fun to get behind that program this year and see how they do.
Yeah.
And for the years to come too.
No doubt about it.
You can really build that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the Hilton Head schools, Hilton Head Christian didn't have as good a season last year they had the past couple of years. Hilton Head Prep year 2 under Dustin Etheridge, see what they can do there. But a lot of good contenders there. Obviously, Pinewood, PD, Florence Christian, all Wilson Hall will always be right there. I think in the thick of it for sure.
It's gonna be a fun one to watch.
Yeah,
certainly fun.
Looking now at 4A SCISA, John. It comes down to Hammond. These guys are, 6 straight state titles, going for 7 in a row. And your boy G.A. Mangus coming into the OC now. You gotta love to see that there for the Skyhawks. Hammond is just a powerhouse, man. I think they're gonna be really good again this year. But a lot of other 4A schools are building something too. You look at a team like Ben Lippin, who had a great turnaround last year, won one game 2 years ago, won 8 last year. They've got a quarterback, Javon Gilmore. I think he's a sophomore, really good athlete, comes over from Ridgeview. He's a stud there. I like him a lot. Blake Boast at receiver. They've got Connor and Porter at linebacker. They're some really good players there for Ben Lippin. Coach Helms, year 2 at Cardinal Newman, John, they brought in some talent. They've got Cortez Lane from Camden came over. A couple other guys came over from other parts of the state. They've got some talent. Coach Helms is going about it where he's trying to compete for that 4A state title.
And they've also got, so it'll be 11th grade this year, wide receiver Pedro Reyes. For Cardinal Newman as well. He's a guy that Rivals is very high on for class of 25, getting recruited. See if I can pull up some of his offers here. They include Appalachian State, Charlotte, Cincinnati, Coastal. Big time.
So Cardinal Newman is definitely going to be a contender this year. Like I said, they've got some good talent there. Coach Helms is building something there for sure. Obviously, year 2, I think they'll just continue to get better and better there for Cardinal Newman. Who else we got? Heathwood Hall, new coach Rick Reitz, a guy who had some success down in the low country in SCISA. Went to Rabun Gap, comes over from that OC position there. I like what he's going to do there. Trinity Collegiate has been a team that has really gotten better the last several years. That 4A level has been a little bit tougher for them since they got bumped up there. They lost 2 big players, Bryson Scott and Trey Leonard, did a transfer. Scott now at Wilson, Leonard now at West Florence. But they've got a lot of explosive backs there for Coach Amell, so they'll be fun to watch. They kind of run that, wing T option offense as well, so they are fun to follow. But any other notes? I do one more team I want to shout out. Augusta Christian. We talked to Coach Weigel from Ben Lippin last week. He said Augusta Christian had, as much talent as anybody they played, but they're very young last year.
Okay.
If they've grown up, they can make some noise as well. But, 4A, like we said, begins and ends with Hammond. It just really, until somebody beats them, those guys are the favorites.
Yeah. And that's pretty open and shut. And boy, they're gonna be tough.
Yeah. The Skyhawks are good. Coach Wheeler does a great job there, and then bringing in Coach Mangus, some more concepts there from that college game is going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah, just that experience and knowing what it takes to be a champion. A guy like Mangus, he's not going to give you any wiggle room either. He's going to be all business, and he's going to demand the most out of those kids and get the most out of them too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Drill, any thoughts you want to throw in on these SCISA ranks from 8-man through 4A? Love to get your thoughts on a couple of these classifications here.
So this is out of my proverbial wheelhouse, so we'll just keep it, as simple as possible. Me being an upstate guy, so let's not, say something stupid and end up on one of those TV screens. But I'm interested in 4A, just trying to see, if anybody can catch up to Hammond. Like they've made some really great strides. Those other competitors, like you said, like Cardinal Newman, the other teams there. I'm really excited to see what the 4A ranks can do. Ben Lipp and those other schools. And then also, the biggest thing that I've noticed in SCISA, we talked about it in our coaching carousel show, the amount of coaching talent that has been attracted to the SCISA ranks, seeing how these guys are going to transform these programs, just some huge names, some huge changes, like schools attracting, top proven talent. I think that's going to be awesome to keep up with. But I'll stop talking about SCISA because, like I said, it's not my expertise, and I don't want to keep the folks waiting anymore on these championship previews.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jarrell. A lot of big tires with Coach Holloman, and Coach Birch and then guys like that. And then Coach Nelson going, from Holly Hill to Dorchester and whatnot. And Coach Schufert going over to Beaufort. A lot of big moves in the SCISA ranks for sure this past year. But John, let's start making some very bold, very early state title predictions. Do you want to start? Run through SCISA right quick since we just hit that, and then we'll go up to 1A and 2A, or do you want to go backwards?
You say SCISA first?
Might as well, yeah.
Okay.
Talk about it. Yeah,
let's do it.
I'll go first. I think SCISA 8-man. I'm going to go Jefferson Davis, Holly Hill, state title prediction. It's a little tougher to predict SCISA because the way the brackets lay out sometimes, you don't know how it's going to work out. We're not really an upper or lower state. But I think those two teams are the teams to look out for in 8-man there.
I'm going to go Holly Hill over Richard Wynn.
I like it. Moving up to 1A. This was going to be tough here, John. Thomas Hayward, I don't know what they're going to do without Coach Schufert. I'm going to go with Lee Academy repeating, taking over Dorchester with Coach Nelson.
Okay. I'm going to go Thomas Hayward over Robert E. Lee.
I like it. 2A for me. Williamsburg, I think, repeats. I think they take over Beaufort with Coach Schufert. I like that Williamsburg team. They got some talent coming back. I think Coach Boyd gets his first ring as a football head coach.
I agree with you. I think Williamsburg, they're the team to beat in 2A. I'm going to say let's go with Beaufort getting there.
Okay. I like it. 3A, I'll let you go first, John. You pick your 3A predictions here in SCISA. Who do you like this year taking home the trophy?
So I think everything, it was a dream season for PD.
Yeah.
Had it, all the talent they had, everything came together for them. I'm going to say Florence Christian gets the revenge this year. I say Florence Christian winning, and gosh, I want to say Pinewood Prep so bad.
Hey.
But I'm going to say Hilton Head Christian.
I like it. Coach Minton and the Florence Christian Eagles there really got hot in the playoffs. They had a couple games where they struggled late in the regular season, but they turned it on and just won ball games when they had to. I'm a little bit handcuffed here, as you guys know. I'm going to pick PD to win it again, running it back for the Golden Eagles there. New stadium as well. Definitely check that out down there in Mullins. Good job there for the Eagles. I think they're going to beat Coach Holland's Pinewood Prep Panthers.
Okay. I want to pick Pinewood.
I'm going to go with that. And then looking at 4A, John, I think Hammond wins it again. As far as who they're going to play, I'm going to go with Cardinal Newman. I think Coach Helms has got those guys going the right direction. They got a lot of talent there. I think the Skyhawks win, but I think Cardinal Newman makes a good run this year.
I agree with Hammond. I don't think Cardinal Newman's going to get there.
Okay.
I think, here's my bold prediction. I don't think Cardinal Newman has the season that people think they're going to have.
Okay.
I could see them not quite coming up with those standards.
Okay.
We'll see. I could be completely wrong, but we'll see. I say Hammond beats Trinity.
Oh, I like it.
4A.
Coach Amel there getting there for the state title game. And then Let's look at 1A, John. You want to go first or me to go first? Because I don't know what I want to do.
Okay. I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first. I'm going to say Southside.
Really?
I want to say
Interesting.
Southside knocks off Louisville in the Upper State Championship.
Okay.
And I'd say that is kind of the de facto state championship game for 1A.
Mm-hmm.
That Upper State Championship. I think Southside wins it. And I want to say Lamar.
Okay. I like that. I
It's
like
who they
Lamar.
beat.
I like Lamar.
But I think Whale Branch
Ooh.
is going to be potentially in that lower state.
And that's a couple teams, those guys, Baptist Hill, we didn't talk a lot about, but
Baptist
they've
Hill
had some good years the last couple seasons. Yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, the Chisholm kid at Whale Branch is a really good player. I really like what he does there, but that'll be a fun team to follow. 1A, man, I think it's Christchurch and Louisville out of the Upper State. I don't know who wins that yet. I'm going to go buddy, that's going to be tough. Let's go since I think Louisville will get him at home this time. Let's take Louisville. I think they're going to be at home. So we'll see.
I'd love to see that.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see how wrong we are about these predictions in about 16 weeks, John. And then out of the lower state, I'm going to go Bamberg. I like Coach Crosby bringing back all those starters, bringing all that talent. I think Bamberg makes a good run this year in 1A. In 2A, John, who do you like here? I like Abbeville. I like Gray. I wish they both weren't in the Upper State. That makes it a little tough here.
Yeah.
But it's hard to go against Abbeville until you lose a game, right? I'm going to go Abbeville taking on who do I like out of the lower state? I like Marion. I like Hampton County. I think Abbeville takes down. Let's go Hampton County. I think they make a deep run this year. That might be a dumb pick. I don't know. We'll see.
I love it. I like Abbeville too. And I want to say Hampton County, but just to have fun, just to get crazy here, I want to say Strom Thurmond.
See, I think they may go Upper State this year. I don't know how that. I think that region goes Upper State.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Let's see. Actually, we have that. They are.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. Okay. Oof. All right. I gotta go.
Yeah,
I got
Jeopardy theme music over there from Jarrell. Yeah,
I got
yeah.
you.
I think that's a good pick. I mean, they're going to be loaded. We know they are. Might not know the guys' names yet, but we know they're going to be studs for sure. Jarrell, you want to hop in with some comments into your thoughts and predictions on these state title games? Wait your early predictions.
Yeah, man. 2A so hard. They're both really hard. I like Big A. You just got to go Abbeville until somebody knocks them off. Yep. That's the easy pick. I think they're the state. Yeah, I think they're the state champion, and I think they also play. I like Hampton County too. Just with Estill being so good, and them combining with Wade Hampton, I think they're going to come out of the lower part of the state, and then going to 1A. I really like the Lions of Louisville. I think they're going to win the state championship. They knock off Christchurch, exercise those demons, and they are going. Something keeps telling me to pick Cross. I don't know why. I want to pick Cross.
Lost talent. Santori Jones no longer there, but the Montgomery kid's back. He's a good player there. Had a good season. I think they lost to Johnsonville, I believe, last year in the playoffs. So they had a good run. Cross is a good football team for sure. I do think they lost some of their coordinators, I want to say. Maybe to Lamar. Do you remember, Drill? We talked to, was it Coach Burris who got some guys from Cross, or somebody did? I think so. Yeah. So replacing that part, but they've still got some talent there for sure down there for the Trojans. But this has been great, man. I'm looking forward to our 3A, 4A, 5A show on Wednesday night about 7 o'clock. So I hope you guys are as well. Like I mentioned earlier, if you missed any part of this show, missed your favorite team, missed your classification, you can start this over and watch it. Also be on YouTube and our podcast as well. If you guys have not followed us on all socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, etc., at Movin Chains, MOVINCHANS.com, our website, movinchains.com, MOVINCHANS.com there, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Movin The Chains brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Any final thoughts here, John, before we wrap up for tonight and get ready for the big boys here on Wednesday night?
Once again, I am really excited about 2A football.
Yeah.
That's going to be really, really fun. Even with Abbeville being the favorite, I think, across the board for us.
Yeah.
I mean, that rear view mirror is chock full of some really,
yes, it
really
is.
good teams.
Yes, it is.
2A is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and this is a team, Abbeville, if you remember last year, you mentioned that Powdersville game. They started off really slow. They lost a lot of ball games early, but they had a lot of injuries, and they really kept getting better and better and better, and they peaked at the right time, went on a huge run. I think you'll see something similar this year because they've got that tough schedule again, just flipped home and away. So we'll see.
And that helps.
Yeah.
We debated that last year at one point. I think we talked to Rob Brown about it.
Yep.
Hey, well, what do you prefer? Do you prefer stacking a schedule up front early and having some tough games, knowing, hey, you're probably going to lose 1, 2, 3 of those games?
Yeah.
But what does that do for you down the stretch and region play, then in playoffs? Or do you go the route of, we talked about Burns.
Yeah.
Do you stack it up? And it's a little bit easier when you're talking about 2A and you're talking about 5A. But, do you get some games under your belt where you try to get in a rhythm, you're probably going to win ball game. 2 different strategies. And, Abbeville's doing it right. Or I'm not saying doing it right, but they're doing it the right way for them.
It worked for them. It worked for Coach Nichols for sure.
And heck, it worked for Burns pretty good last year too, didn't it?
That's true. That's true. Well, Jarrell, any thoughts from you before we hop out? Any comments we need to see or anything like that, or anything else you want to hop in here before we get rolling on? Fairfield Central. Yeah, Cam McMillan, really good quarterback. Love what he's doing there for the Griffins. He's a good player. I think they're going to be good. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks, guys. Lakeland Sports guys, Chris and Tom. Hoping to hop on with those guys on Thursday on their show as well. But looking forward to talking some 3A, 4A, 5A on Wednesday. Should be a lot of fun for sure here on the program, Facebook, YouTube, etc. We'll be doing it live there. Definitely put that on your calendar, guys, and tune in there. Drew, anything else you want to say before we hop out?
No, dude, I'm just really excited. We're here. We're here next week. We're going to be in a stadium somewhere. We're going to be eating a hot dog somewhere, watching some awesome football. I can't wait for it. 1A, 2A going to be super competitive. 2A has a special place in my heart. So I'm excited about tonight. I'm glad we picked tonight to get this thing going and ready to talk about the big boys on Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And one more just request for you guys. If you're watching the video, share it, tell your friends, like it. It's a lot of fun. We get the comments from you guys in here. So definitely do that and try to tell all your friends about it. Love to kind of grow this and make it bigger and bigger. But for Jarrell Hendricks behind the scenes on the board there, for John Epps, I'm Kevin Thomas. This has been Moving the Chains, our 1A, 2A, and SCISA preview show. And we will talk to you guys on Wednesday.